Hi, I'm Justinian Lane of Justinian Associates, and this is Diego Rodriguez, my lead immigration attorney. Our firm handles personal injury cases, immigration cases, some criminal law cases, and pretty much anything else that is an individual who is in need of legal assistance.
Yeah, we'd love to sit down with you. Our consultations are always free. If you can't meet us at one of our offices, we have offices in San Antonio, Pflugerville, and Austin. We'd love to hear from you guys. We can do an email, we can do a phone call, Skype. You can reach us here on Facebook Live. Our consultations are free. If you have a sensitive matter you want to discuss in person, we're excited to have that opportunity maybe to kind of steer you in the right direction. Or if you want to know what to expect, we'd like to walk you through that process.
Absolutely, and Diego mentioned free consultations, and that's very important because there's a lot of lawyers out there who will actually charge $50, $100, $150 just to come in and spend a few minutes with you and tell you that they can't help. We can't promise that we can help you, but we can promise we'll never charge you money to tell you that we can't. So if you've ever thought about talking to an attorney about any kind of a problem, give us a call first. If we can't help, we can maybe point you in the direction of somebody who can, but more importantly, it won't cost you a thing. So I highly encourage you, if you're going to talk to an attorney, to talk to someone who doesn't charge, even if it's not us. There's simply no excuse to have to pay for a consultation.
We have experienced a lot of areas, like Mr. Justinian said. It's important to figure out, what's actually happening. What is the next step I need to take? Should I have already taken a step? There's a lot of things that the legal process kind of works with. I specifically do immigration and some criminal law. Mr. Justinian and the other attorneys, they practice in personal injury, asbestos, first-party claims, things like that. So it's not like a one-stop shop where you can go, Diego, you're going to ask me every single question. I wouldn't be able to have that answer. But within the firm, we have a collection of attorneys that do a wide array of legal things, and we can point you in the right direction within our firm to give you that advice.
Absolutely. We have a wide range of staff that can help on a lot of things. And the newest division that we have is one that's very dear to my heart because I love the good work that Diego does with immigration, with keeping families together. Always makes me happy when I know that a family gets to stay together because of the hard work Diego and his team does. And there's been a lot of changes that people are kind of afraid of with the new election. Well, what do you have to say about that, Diego?
Well, right now, nothing's changed. I really want people to there's a lot of rhetoric out there in the media. You have both sides, right and left, that are saying this, that. Nothing has changed. We don't know what's going to happen. He's made some promises when he was on the campaign run, but the thing is, politicians sometimes promise a lot, and they can't necessarily deliver on certain things. So with us, it's how does that impact me? How does that impact my friend or maybe my wife or other things? Hispanics aren't the only ones that are being affected. We have clients that are from around the world, from Europe, South America, China, Africa. If they have questions or if you just kind of want to point them in the right directions, why don't they come talk to me? I'm more than happy. I'm very, very friendly. We'll take our time. We'll talk about the advantages or disadvantages if you have options. If you don't, we'll inform you why. Information's power. It's good to protect yourself. There's a lot of scams and frauds that are coming out right now.
Absolutely. Diego talked about, nothing has changed yet. Trump won't be inaugurated until January 20th. So right now he has just as much power as you or I do to affect policies. So promises aside, nothing has changed now, and we don't know what's going to happen. Diego alluded to some scams, though. There's been a lot of people that are, afraid of what's going to happen, and unfortunately, anytime people are afraid, someone's there to take advantage of that. What kind of scams have you been seeing, Diego?
Right now, we're dealing with about two or three. One of them is really near to my heart. It's notarios. So notarios in Latin American countries are just like a notary public here. They're able to stamp certain things, certify things like that. They're not attorneys. Well, in Mexico or in certain Latin American countries, these people, they'll go for legal advice. That's not our system here. So we try to inform them, hey, these people aren't doing it correctly. Let us come talk to us. Let us direct you in the right way. Let us do your process right. Because the impact of not doing it right now could cost thousands of dollars and maybe put you in a situation that you don't want to be in. Another scam is something that's happening with immigration judges. I know it's weird to say immigration judges are doing a scam. That's not what I'm saying. People are posing as immigration judges and they're saying, we can help you along this process. We see you're eligible for these things. They're preying on the weak. They're preying on the fearful. They're kind of fear-mongering right now. And for us, it's, we're happy to talk to you. We've had a couple clients that came in and they were about to go with someone. And I was like, that's not the right course of action. That's not even a legitimate means, but they didn't know. They were trying to inform themselves.
Sure.
So what I would like to be, and what we've always strived to be here at Justinian Associates, is a place, a resource. Let us be someone that you can come to and ask these questions. And since it's free, we're here to help. There's no cost to you. There could be a cost if you don't inform yourself. So
Absolutely.
these immigration, they'll put out these different kind of feelers and see what areas they can do and what. Let me help you get a visa. Let me help you get a status in this country. You pay me X amount of money. That's not how it works. And these people are not bad people. They're just scared and trying to do something bad, or trying to do something right, and people are taking advantage of the bad. That's kind of what I've been seeing, a lot of
Sure.
frauds and scams. So if you know of anyone that's involved in that, give us a call. We'll talk to you about it.
Absolutely. If anybody represents to you that they are a judge and they can help you with their case, they're lying. Judges are not allowed to get involved in somebody's case. They do not do that. The penalties for doing that are so severe that no judge would risk going to jail for committing a fraud like that. Judges have very, very, very complicated rules of what's ethical and what they can and can't do. And they certainly can't say, hey, if you give me some money, I can help you, or I was looking at your case and this is what's going on. That's not how our system works. It's never been how our system works. So please, if anybody tells you they're a judge, you can prove them wrong. You can look up on the federal court system has a list of all the judges with pictures. You can see that it's not them. You can give us a call. You could call the state bar and ask for information about it. But trust me, that is never anything that you want to do. Yeah, it's a terrible situation that happens, but that's not how this system works at all.
It's currently happening right now in Austin, San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas. I know this sounds like common sense to a lot of y'all, but some people may not, if you don't know the judicial process, you may not know it. Like Justinian was stating, it's get informed. That's not how it works. This is not a route to anything that will lead correctly, because they don't have that power to just accept money and get a resident. That's not how it works. So
Yeah, judges don't take money. Police officers don't take money. That's not how this works. If you're going to pay the court system, you have to pay to the court, and it's not. You don't put money in an officer's hand of the court or a police officer. It just doesn't work. So I feel bad that people are getting taken advantage of. And what's worse yet is sometimes folks will fall prey to that scam and then not think that there's any recourse. But there's things we can do if that happens to help those people, right?
yeah, correct. We're working on a few cases right now. It's called the U visa. A lot of these times they will get money, they'll have all their information. Now they're saying, well, we're going to report you to immigration, or we're going to report you to ICE, or to whatever the police, or whatever type of scare tactic they want to do. It's blackmail. It can, if they request more money, that could be extortion. Depending on how the situation works. If it's physical, if it's not, things like that. But it's tough.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation. Diego was talking about immigration enforcement and policies, and the individual who is in charge of the enforcement of those policies is the Attorney General, and we have he will be replaced by Trump. Who's been nominated, or is he going to nominate?
Yeah, it's Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama. He's given that nomination. He has a hard stance on immigration. I feel that there's some policies in place that are good. There's some policies in place that are not as good. But his stand is pretty firm. I think he's made a couple statements of if you're here illegally, deport them all.
He has, yeah. Senator Jefferson Beauregard Sessions is certainly no friend of the immigrant or minorities in general. In fact, this is a guy in the Reagan administration, going back, if you think of what the 80s were like, he was deemed too racist to be a federal judge. So that doesn't bode well for our friends from other countries coming here. If in the 80s a guy was too racist to hold a federal judge position, and now he's going to be in charge of enforcing immigration. So I certainly have some concerns about that.
I do as well. Even if he has softened, now he's in charge of the whole judicial system. As the AG of the federal courts, immigration falls under that through the Department of Homeland Security. Those type of policies and things like that going into place is going to be very, very challenging for people that maybe have options or maybe little mistakes here, but they're not all criminals. There's not situations where a person came in when they were 2 years old. They didn't have a choice to come here. And DACA, which is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, is a plan that Trump is trying to take out, and it would be enforced by way of Jeff Sessions, which would be the AG.
Right, and the Attorney General We don't have the resources to enforce all of the laws equally. We don't have enough money to do that. So the Attorney General gets to set some priorities on what he's more interested in enforcing and what he isn't. And we have great fear that he's going to place deportations at a higher priority list than maybe some other problems facing the country. We especially think that he's going to be more concerned about immigrants than over businesses violating the laws, because throughout his career in the Senate, he's been a pretty reliable pro-business and anti-immigrant voice.
Yeah, of course. And we're not saying that deportation shouldn't exist. If there's something that's happened at a severe degree, if there's felonies that have been in place, if there's things that you're not here for the public safety or contributing to society, for me personally, I think those laws are set in place for things like that. But people that have never been in trouble, people that are children now, people that didn't have a choice to come here, people that came for a better life that you may know. I mean, you may see them every day and maybe may not come across your mind, but these aren't people that are breaking laws. They're not drinking and driving. They're not, domestic violence, things like that. These are good people. One of the things that's hard is the sacrifice that people make to come to this country for a better life. And when you see, well, then they should return. Well, the thing is, if their life was at such despair or didn't have such opportunity, and you look at America, which for the longest time is the beacon of hope, the beacon of light, the beacon of opportunity, I think we should continue to be that, because we are a country that's built on immigration. We're a melting pot. We came over here so we can practice religious freedoms, things like that.
I mean, absolutely. Diego is right that people are coming here. You're here to make a better life, and I didn't understand just exactly what that meant. I mean, you might think that somebody leaves, a city like Detroit that doesn't have a lot of economic opportunity to go to a city like Chicago that does, but that's not what he's talking about. I mean, we have clients that have come here from countries because cartels have been killing their family members, and they're next on the list. That's not just coming for a better life; that's coming to live, and it's really hard, at least for someone like me, to get angry about somebody coming here because they don't want to be afraid of a cartel murdering them or their family, or to be thrown in jail on charges that aren't real. So this isn't just somebody's coming over here to make a couple bucks more an hour. In a lot of cases, it's they want to be able to raise a family and live and have the things that we take for granted. So it's been a real eye opener for me, and that's part of why immigration is so dear to me, is because I feel like we're really helping people. Correct. Diego does that every day.
There's examples where it's just not life or death when it comes to cartels, which happens every day. There's also situations with LGBT, same-sex relationships. Certain countries you can be there. We have a client that was beaten, imprisoned, and finally found his way to the United States, which is that kind of sanctuary, that beacon of hope. Our current governor right now is saying he doesn't want to be a sanctuary state anymore. How can we turn ourselves away from people that are not coming here for anything else but protection, to be able to be alive? You look at the hardship that they've had to go through, and we're going to say, no, as Texans united, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to be that person. I think we should offer those things. And Governor Abbott, I believe, has stated something along those lines.
Absolutely. I mean, regardless of how you feel about, if people in LGBT relationships should be entitled to get married, I hope that you can agree that they shouldn't be imprisoned or stoned to death. And if you don't agree with that, just turn the video off, because we're not really interested in speaking to you.
Yeah.
Texas, absolutely, I think, should provide sanctuary to people that are coming here, fleeing for their lives. But Governor Abbott has he sees things a little differently, and I read something very disturbing to me, that he is pushing to amend the Texas state constitution to first make any crime committed by an undocumented person, to make any crime committed a felony, and then to deny bail for any felony committed by an undocumented person. So, I mean, that's just offensive on so many levels, that somebody runs a stop sign and now it's a felony, and now they're in jail without bail. Yeah. And I mean, the reason why for that, I'm sure, is so then that Governor Abbott can then try to have ICE deport those people. What do you think about that?
I think it's just terrible. I I feel that somebody could be along the process and then make a small little violation here that has it's not a crime involving moral turpitude. It's not hurting anyone. It's something that that maybe all of us have done. I mean, I have no idea. I know I've gotten a couple speeding tickets in.
I don't want to talk about how many I've gotten.
But say you forgot to pay it, and now that becomes a warrant. Now that warrant can elevate itself to where you're not going to get a bail if you get into custody again. And to say, okay, well, I'm going along the process, and now because I forgot to pay this, or maybe I didn't have the means to pay it. Maybe at this point, everybody has rough months. We couldn't do that, but now you're in custody. There's going to be no bail.
Absolutely.
That's tough.
Right, and I mean, there's the humanitarian aspect of it, which is terrible, but there's also the budget aspect too. I mean, we have limited resources, and we can't afford to put everybody in jail. And quite honestly, if somebody here who's here illegally shoplifts, a $25 item, I would rather leave a bed open in jail for a guy that committed aggravated assault with a knife on his girlfriend or something like that. So a policy like this is going to force us to put dangerous people in the streets. So we could take, it's still a crime, but I think we can agree that shoplifting isn't as serious as attempted murder, things like that. So it's just another example of an anti-immigrant bias.
Yeah, on the alternate, I also want to talk about how locally our new sheriff has actually publicly stated that they're not going to be on board with that, which is, for me as being an Austinite, I absolutely appreciate someone that's going to say, you know what, these are people.
Now, Diego mentioned about Austin is trying to stay a sanctuary city, and in our system of government, we have federal laws and then we have state laws. And federal laws or something that applies equally to the entire nation. State laws can be different from state to state. Like I guess California just legalized marijuana, so it's legal to use in California, but it's still technically illegal in the federal law. So what that would mean, for example, is if you were using marijuana in California, the state law enforcement wouldn't arrest you for that. Federal law enforcement could if they so chose, but they don't typically get involved in small quantities like that. Now, how does that work with immigration, Diego? Is immigration, is that state or federal?
So immigration law is federal. It's broken down by the overarching agency, which is the Department of Homeland Security, and then it's 3 different branches. Your first is your EOIR, and that is immigration courts. It's where the judges are for deportation proceedings, whatever it may be. That's where you're going to be. Second is the enforcement. It is ICE, Immigration and Custom Enforcement, and C, Custom and Border Patrol. Those will deal with your port of entries, things like that. ICE is more of the policing force outside and in the general country, as well as USCIS, United States Citizen and Immigration Services. That's more your administrative. I want a passport, I want a visa, I want things like that. That's how it's kind of broken down there. But what Mr. Justinian was alluding to was who picks me up, things like that. When you're in violation of immigration law or you're out of status, you may have been you're a student here and you forgot to renew your visa, and now you're here a week and you actually are here illegally. Austin PD will not come and pick you up. It's not a state offense, it's a federal offense. And what the sanctuary cities are basically saying that they're not going to detain people so that ICE can just go and pick them up and do things like that. It's kind of, we're exhausting resources for Austin, for Travis County, Williamson County, things like that. And it's for petty offenses, things like that. I don't think it should matter.
Right. What I read, and you can tell me if this is accurate, is that like a sanctuary city, when they arrest somebody for an offense, they are refusing to hold a person to wait for ICE to come pick that person up. And whereas cities that aren't sanctuary cities, if they arrest a person and they're told, hey, put a hold on this person to keep them in jail until we can come, they'll do that. And my understanding is that the sanctuary cities are risking federal funding by saying, we're only going to keep them in jail for our offenses, we're not helping you.
Correct. That specific hold is called an ICE hold. If you've ever encountered anyone that's been in that situation, say I ran a red light and I forgot to pay the ticket, and now I got stopped over for rolling a stop sign. I have a warrant, so they're going to pick me up so I can, pay the warrant, do whatever I need to do for that. What happens now is you try to bail them out. Well, once they check your status and they figure out that you're not here legally or you're out of status or whatever may happen, they'll put what's called an ICE hold. And now even if you have a bond or you try to bail them out, you won't be able to get them released back into your custody until you resolve what happens with the ICE hold. And we've had situations with clients where they've said, this person's name is John Doe X, and our client's name was John Doe Y. They still kept him in custody until we could resolve that situation. And it's 48 hours, 72 hours. That's when you start getting into habeas relief. You start getting into your liberty. Can you take that away without due process? And it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, Diego and I only have some understanding. We've gone to jails to visit our clients, but neither one of us has been on the other side of those bars. And it doesn't look like a place I want to spend a couple of days for a traffic ticket.
No, not at all. Especially when it's something that could be remedied. These sanctuary cities are doing something good. They're saving resources, but the federal government will kind of withhold some of that funding. There was a couple instances previously, just so we can give you some examples. Drinking ages at 21, 18, it used to not be uniform across the country. Well, the federal government withheld some highway funds, highway money for them to be able to improve those things. That's how the government persuades, or I would like to say a bit coerce,
Right.
their type of policies when it comes to states. So that could happen here.
Right. In the way our system works, the federal government can't make Austin or can't make Texas do anything it tells them to. All it can do is say, well, if you don't do what we want, we're not going to give you the billions of dollars we give you every year. And that's a pretty powerful incentive.
Yeah.
One of the things Diego was just talking about also is people going to jail for different offenses, and it reminded me a lot of the false rhetoric that Trump was using to help get elected about all the rapists and murderers are coming over here and they're integrating and taking the jobs, and we shouldn't give them amnesty and all that. If somebody came to you and they were a murderer, could we even help them get a legal status here?
No, we could not. Murder's one of the worst crimes. There's a laundry list of crimes that kind of make you ineligible, but that's not the right, you can't be helped when you commit those type of things. The other thing is, if you want to come legally to this country, we work with a lot of business immigration clients. Say that you're in Mexico right now, or say you're in Asia, Europe, or things like that. We can also bring over people here, and they're not taking away their jobs. A lot of people have a misconception when it comes to, I hate to use that video, but they took our jobs, things like that.
Right.
To be even eligible to be a employer and request work from outside of the country, you have to go through what's called the PERM process. And the PERM process means to the standards of the Department of Labor that you've actually attempted to seek employment here in the States, but you couldn't find qualified workers. And they also do a second layer of protection that protects other businesses and competitors, is they set what's called a prevailing wage, a minimum that you have to pay that employee for that position. So it protects both sides, our economy, and it helps bring in qualified people to come work with.
Sure. With that prevailing wage, so that would mean that I couldn't, for example, decide that I want to get rid of all of my, American attorneys and bring in overseas attorneys and pay them half wages, right?
No, because you'd undercut the market, and that's what's set to protect it. You want to create the market and do that. I hope you don't want to get rid of all your American attorneys.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I know that obviously there are some employers that are paying people cash under the table at less than minimum wage, and that's a violation of the law. Period. And a sentence has nothing to do with immigration.
No.
So regardless, of what someone's status is, citizen or immigrant or whatever, we still have to pay the set wages. So there seems like there's a big misconception about people that, those foreign workers, they're coming over and taking our jobs and undercutting us. But if they're doing that, it's illegal. Is that right?
Correct. That is 100% illegal. Enforcement is not up to us. It's not, that's up to the government when it comes there. But they've set positions in place to be able to have foreign workers come in here and contribute. We have great doctors that go to rural areas, engineers, architects, truck drivers. There's all sorts of scales when it comes to that, to your skill and to unskilled workers.
Right. It's very interesting. There's been a lot of tension historically between the business community and I don't know if you want to call the America First community that would prefer to have fewer immigrants. I know that Trump has talked about nominating, I believe his last name is Pudzer, I think is how it's pronounced. He was the CEO of Carl's Jr. And he, for many years, talked about he saw immigrants as being the future of his company because they would, not want as high a wages as American workers. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's interesting. He might be the Department of Labor secretary. And he's since changed his tune and said, that's what would have been best for our shareholders, but what's best for America is aggressive enforcement of these laws and policies. And it just highlights that there's a lot of tension. And that's, I guess for me, the thing that makes it scariest about Trump is we don't know what he is going to do. Because he's got, a business guy over here that used to be, I want to bring in as many immigrants as I can so I can get the labor force. And now people are over here, deport them all. No one has a right to be here. We don't know how it's going to shake out. So I guess, Diego, is it in somebody's best interest to come talk to us today or to wait until after Trump is inaugurated?
I think you should talk to us now. I think you should get informed. If you have questions about what's going on, we know right now what's in place. And I can answer what options you have or what things we can do today. Come January 20th, nobody knows. We'd be wrong if we told you that we did. But if you want to wait till January 20th, that's your prerogative. I want to give you this opportunity to really just kind of ask any questions that you want. We're going to be here. We're going to be available. We're more than happy to give you any responses that you need. But come right now. It's better to inform yourself than not. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we offer free consultations, as we mentioned, and we also have a pretty aggressive payment plan. Do most of our clients pay us up front, Diego?
No, we're reasonable. We're flexible. We want to work with you as you work with us. We're building a relationship, and this relationship isn't going to be for a month or 2 months. It's going to be at minimum about 9 months. So during that, we offer any type of help that you want to get there, so we can structure kind of a payment plan that would be good for you.
Right, and that's important to us because we have some business immigration clients, big companies that are they can afford to write us a check to help bring a specialized worker over. But our average client is somebody that just needs help and they just have a regular job, and coming up with some of the fees can sometimes be a little hard to do all at once. But most people we're able to work out something with.
Correct. Right? Yeah, we're very flexible. Just let us know what we can do, and we'll let you know if we can work with it or not. But don't let that prevent you from coming to talk to us, because it is free to have your consultation and kind of figure out where you're at. Think about it as a legal checkup, just like you would go to the doctor and things like that. But we're not charging you. We're trying to figure out how we can help you when it comes to that. I kind of also want to touch not only on this, but what you can do when you want to speak to a PI attorney, or if you've been in an accident.
Absolutely.
Kind of where you want to go there. From what I understand, if you've been in an auto accident, things like that, the first thing you need to do is get medical help, figure out where you're at, what you're doing.
Of course.
And I would say the second thing is come talk to an experienced attorney that can help you with that.
Absolutely, and that's a good point. I mean, we help if somebody's injured in a car accident, or if somebody's just injured, period, we'll do everything to help them. And I know one misconception that some people have is they think that if they're in an accident but they're not here legally, that we can't help. Is that true, Diego?
No, that's not. We're definitely, you can be helped. Even if you don't have a driver's license, you can be helped.
Right. In fact, it's not even admissible to a jury, so a jury would never know. They don't. It's not relevant if you're here legally, if you're a citizen, if you're not. In our system, our country, if you're injured, the person who's responsible for it has to pay. It's just fair. So if you've been hurt but you were thinking, oh, I can't talk to an attorney, I might get deported, or they couldn't do anything for me anyway. Absolutely not. We can help, and in some cases, it even can work out where we could use any settlement we're able to recover for you and direct some of those funds towards helping you get your status in order. So then we can help in multiple ways. Yeah.
So get back to the point of federal and state distinctions. What happened there is an auto accident that has nothing to do with the federal government, nor does the federal government really interested in reporting or investigating any
right.
Small motor vehicle accidents. If you've been in that situation, don't have any fear. Come talk to us. It doesn't cost you anything, and we kind of direct you in the right direction of what you need to do.
Now, I know some people might still be a little intimidated about calling, I want to set an appointment and meeting one-on-one. Do we have any options where people could come in and just be part of a group and ask questions?
Yeah, so every Saturday we hold different immigration clinics. We talk about criminal law, immigration law, personal injury. We have these classroom settings where you may be scared to ask about certain things, and we kind of hit the big topics. We hit, what is adjustment of status, deportability, what makes me inadmissible, what criminal things may hurt me. And then on the criminal side, we talk about, I've been stopped, I've got a ticket, what do I do next? Or I have a court hearing, what can I do? Or I've missed my court hearing, I've had a probation violation. We just kind of address general topics. Obviously, every case is different, but you can get information, and you're going to get this information for free. Also, on the personal injury side, what happens if I get into a car accident and I'm undocumented? We'll talk to you about those things. What happens if I don't have a driver's license or a valid driver's license, things like that. We'll give you that information. It'll be general and free. And if you want a more specialized or a kind of a case analysis, you can definitely talk to us, and we'll take that time to explain what options you have.
Absolutely. We try to be as flexible as possible and as easy to talk to as possible. One of the reasons that I went into practice for myself to try to help others is, I know a lot of lawyers are very difficult to talk to, and they talk down to people, and they make you know, oh, wow, I'm a lawyer, and I went to law school, and I'm so smart. We're not like that. We're just people who help people who happen to have law degrees. So if you've ever been intimidated at the thought of talking to a lawyer, certainly don't be with us. We're just regular people. Diego and I just nobody in my firm grew up rich or anything like that. We all had regular upbringings, and this is just the path that we chose because we wanted to help people. So we help people from all walks of life. It doesn't matter what your status is, if you have a PhD or you dropped out of school when you were in middle school. None of that stuff matters to us. I mean, we're just here to help people.
Yeah. We'll guide you through the process. We'll take the legalese out of the legal consultation. We'll just kind of direct you. This is what it really is using plain English words.
Right. I mean, we don't need to make ourselves feel good by talking down to people. We make ourselves feel good by helping keep families together. All right, well, thanks for watching. This is Justinian Lane of Justinian Associates. I'm a personal injury lawyer that loves to help injured people. And let me turn it over to Diego.
Yeah, hi, guys. Thank you very much for taking the time. My name is Diego Rodriguez. If you have any questions about any of these things, we're going to hold an event on Saturday. There's going to be food, there's going to be events, clinics like we talked about. It's just not for immigration. There's criminal law, family law, personal injury, first party. If you have any questions when it comes to something, even that we don't practice, we can direct you in the right way. We can kind of guide you there. The consultations are always free. We're going to be starting at 9 a.m. till about 5 p.m. this Saturday at 8770 Research Boulevard, Austin, Texas, 78758. Si quieres ayuda en español, es 512-580-5000. Otra vez más, si necesitas ayuda en español, es 512-580-5000. Gracias. Please give us a call. We'll help in English or Spanish, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Shoot us a text, an email, whatever it may be. We'll respond.
Absolutely. I hope to see you Saturday. Come on out and have some food and beverages on us. And one more time, that number, 512-980-0000.
Ayuda en español, 512-580-5000.